good day, ma'am. My name is Curly Kizon Sabala from 11 Matos Cross. So today I'm going to discuss the Quarter 4 Module 5 Imaging and Design for Online Environment. What is imaging and design for an online environment? Imaging and design for online environment. Why are we hope on looking at something on the internet and sometimes we remember that what we saw even trying to wear those things when we wake up and want to look around, trying to open our eyes to the colors and sometimes wait to the pictures and imitate them in real life? Is this because image opens our minds to different meanings in life? For crossing to image manipulation, let us learn first the basic visual principles used in the real and digital work study. Lesson 1: Basic Principles of Graphics and Layout. What are the basic principles of graphics and the layout? Or principles of visual designs include contrast, balance, emphasis, movement, white space, proportion, repetition, rhythm, pattern, unity, and the variety. So these principles of designs work together to create something that is aesthetically pleasing and optimize the user experience. So the first one is balance. So every element of designs, topography, colors, image, pattern, shapes, etc. carries a visual weight. Some elements are heavy and draw the eye, while other elements are lighter. The way these elements are laid out on a page should create a feeling of balance. So there are two basic types of balance, which is symmetrical and the asymmetrical. So the asymmetrical designs layout elements are equal weight on either side of an imaginary center life, while the asymmetrical balance uses elements of differing weights, often laid out in relation to a line that is not centered within the overall design. Second one is color. So color is used for emphasize or may elicit emotions from viewers. So determined by its hue, name of color, intensity, purity of the hue, and value, lightness or darkness of hue. So there are some of the meanings of color to some people. So yet, depending on the country, some colors have different meanings in one country. So for the USA is white represent purity, cleanliness, while the other country, China, it is a color of represent mourning. The third one is proximity. So the principle of proximity is simply the process of ensuring related designs elements are placed together. Any unrelated items should be spaced apart. Close proximity indicates the items are connected or have a relationship to each other and become one visual, which helps to organize or give structure to layout. So, white space is the art of nothing. It is also known as the negative space. It is the portion of a page left unmarked, so margins, gutters, and space between columns, lines of type, graphics, figure, or objects drawn or depicted. The fourth one is alignment. So it is simply the visual elements are arranged so that they line up in some way. So there are two basic kinds of alignment, which is edge and the center. Places designs elements so that they line up with one another on their axis. So technically, every single shape has a center axis, though there generally is a used to just simple regular shape. So note that this doesn't always mean that elements are placed in the horizontal center of page. Number 5 is repetition. So the process of repeating elements throughout a design to give unified look. So repetition goes with consistency of your designs on font size, patterns, and colors. On the left hand side of Type and Pixel websites are the great example of repetition in design. The number six is contrast. It is the divergence of opposing elements, opposite colors in the color wheel or value light and dark. So direct or direction, horizontal, vertical. Contrast allow us to emphasize or highlight key elements or design. Image manipulation techniques. So photo or image manipulation involves transforming or using various methods and techniques to achieve desired results. So some manipulations are considered skillful artwork while others are frowned upon as unethical practices. So especially when used to deceive the public. Other examples include being used for political propaganda or to make a product or person look better or simply for entertainment purposes or harmless prank. On the application and intent, some images and designs posted in an online environment are considered an art form because they involve the creation of unique images and some instances, signature expressions of art by photographic artists. The basic photo editing techniques should be available in even simple editing programs, and each can enhance your image to make them more powerful and share-worthy. So advanced editing software will offer these basic tools and will also include refinements that allow you to do more sophisticated editing that's outside the scope of this article. So you don't have to do all the basic editing steps rather on every image, but the steps you choose to do should be done in the order listed. Number one is crop and clean up your image. So straighten image. It's always better to pay attention to be sure your horizon is horizontal when you shoot. But straightening is also an easy first editing step. So the crop image, it's best to crop to improve minor compositional details like distancing elements at the edge of the frame or repositioning your subject slightly. Is adjust the white balance. So white balance relates to color levels, not exposure levels. If your image has an overall color tone that you find displeasing or unnatural, you can adjust white balance to fix it. Note that GPH files, because they capture far less digital data than RAW files, offer a minimal amount of white balance adjustment during editing. Number three is adjust exposure and contrast. Adjusting exposure. This is the process of making the photo exactly as bright or dark as you want. Note that noise, a mottled look, can sometimes be introduced when you crank up the brightness. That's why it's always better to get the correct exposure, one that's sufficiently bright when you first take the photo. Adjusting contrast. Contrast is the range of dark to light tones. When it's extra high, you see a stark image where all tones, regardless of color, are either very dark or very light. When it's extra low, you see a flat image where no elements in the frame stand out. Typically, you want a middle contrast that avoids either of those extremes, but if you prefer either of those effects, you can you can adjust the contrast to achieve that photo. Four is adjust color, vibrancy, and saturation. So once white balance is adjusted, you can further refine colors in your photos with the saturation and vibrancy controls. So the distinction between vibrancy controls, the distinction between the two are subtitle increasing vibrancy increases color intensity in neutral color tones and maintain color intensity in the brighter colors. So increasing saturation makes all colors throughout the frame more intense. When bright colors pop, it can give the photo more dramatic look. Is adjust sharpness. Experiment with your editing program's additional sharpening features to see the effect each produce. One you might try it is a clarity structure tool. It makes the edges of objects in the photo stand out more, so giving the overall image a punchier look.